This is Danny Flexent here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Lou DiBella for the latest edition of DiBella's Digest. And Lou, as is customary, I'd like to ask you, how has your week been?
My week's been fine. I mean, both of my Major League Baseball affiliates, the Rays and the Giants, got eliminated. Yeah. So from the baseball playoffs. So I'm a little bit disappointed. It means I will not be getting my 4th World Series ring this year. But other than that, you know, everything's nice. It's been beautiful weather. I love fall. It's my favorite time of year. The New York Giants stink, and New York sports is sort of in a hellhole right now. But other than that, Dan, I'm not complaining.
Glad to hear it. Yeah, I mean, you can't help where you're from, unfortunately, and yeah, it's not a great time. The Giants have been good still relatively recently. It's not like you've been, you know.
No, it's been a while. It's been a while. Like the Giants are an atrocity right now, and I'm a season ticket holder. I own a license to my seats. You know, I'd like to give the people that run the Giants a little piece of my mind, but I think they're getting it from all sides right now, anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they'll be watching this, but you know, feel free at any point.
No. Let's go to boxing.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. The most recent kind of big fight, if you like, it was supposed to just be a showcase or a shedding rust affair for Mikey Garcia.
I mean, you're talking about Mikey against Sandor Martin. You know, Sandor Martin is a pro. Like, I am not disrespecting him. He's fundamentally sound. He's a pro. I don't think he does anything great. I don't think he beats the very top at 140 or 47. I think it's a fight that I would have expected Mikey Garcia to win. There's a couple of factors. Mikey looks soft to me. Mikey's not really a welterweight. Sandor was hungry. Mikey looked like he thought it was a walkover. I think Mikey thought he fought like he thought he had a really easy opponent in front of him. I had read a tweet a while back from Anthony Yiggett where he said Mikey better be on his game because, you know, I think he's looking past this guy, and I fought this guy and the guy can fight a little bit. And I think that Anthony Yiggett nailed it. But I got to tell you something, man. Mikey's one of my favorite fighters. I've known him since he's a kid. I really like him as a person. I like his family. Robert Garcia is a friend of mine. Before he fought Errol Spence, I had a conversation with Mikey as a friend. And I said, Mikey, you're going to make your own decision. You're your own man. I'm going to root for you. I'm going to respect whatever you do. But you're not a welterweight. This is way out of your size. You were a great featherweight. You were a great light featherweight. I think 35 pounds is probably where you should have maxed out, honestly. You know, maybe if you were pushing to 140 for the big fight, I get it. But up to 47, I said, you're not going to win. Like, I knew he had no chance to win. And everyone knew he had no chance to win. And it became very clear to him early in the fight with Spence, he had no chance to win. And he basically fought to survive, which doesn't make him a bad guy, but means he made a really bad career move. And then the reaction to how he was whitewashed and pasted should have been to move back down and weight. But every performance at welterweight has been poor. He's not a welterweight. But here's the thing that bothers me. The kid had immense talent. The kid had Hall of Fame talent and had the ability to have a legacy that would outdo his brother, and a legacy that I would outdo most fighters. Mikey Garcia could have had an all-time great career. This is where mismanagement or look, he made a lot of money to fight Spence, but so what? I mean, he could have made a lot of money, fought more frequently at a weight better for him, and cemented Hall of Fame credentials, had a legacy that could have made him, in my mind, one of the all-time great lightweights, you know, and making an election to go to the wrong weight class for one score and then staying at that weight when it's not your weight. Man, poor decision-making has really done a job on his career. And he's not a kid anymore. So, you know, I mean, is there still time to readjust? I think maybe, but this, I mean, his legacy's taken a beating with a loss to Sandor Martin. He had the fight with Vargas, which was, he won, right? He won the Vargas fight, I believe, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't, it was really close. It was really close. I haven't seen any fight of him at welterweight where I was impressed. And the loss to Martin is real. It's a bad loss, you know, because Martin can't beat the top at 140 or 47. He's not beating the Josh Taylors. He's not beating the Regis Prograis. You know, it's a bad loss. And I don't know now with his body being comfortable at these higher weights. And he looked soft at 47 in this fight. He didn't look like a hard 47. He looked soft. I feel badly because I really liked the kid so much. And I was a huge fan of his ability. And I feel that this is where fighters and their teams have to look at things very carefully and understand that a bad decision can really, really derail your career entirely and hurt your legacy. And it bothers, you know, I find it sort of sad that happened to Mikey because he's a good kid and he's had terrific talent. Still has terrific talent, but it doesn't belong on a 47-pound frame. He's a little guy. He doesn't belong at that weight. I mean, he was fighting to survive against Spence. He can't compete with the top at welterweight. He's got to prove right now that he could compete with the top at 40. You know? So if he's going to keep fighting, and I'm assuming he's going to, I hope it's at a lower weight. You know?
I completely agree with you. Someone else who's coming off a decision loss, albeit in different circumstances, is Anthony Joshua. He seems to be looking for answers at the moment on your side of the pond. We've seen him going on something of a US tour over the last week or so, visiting the likes of Eddie Reynoso at the Canelo Gym, Ronnie Shields most recently.
Whatever he's been doing, and I'm not blaming McCracken at all. I'm not blaming anyone. Certain times trainers there's a comfort zone with a trainer and a fighter. They get used to a certain style of fighting. There's a certain culture in the gym and a certain relationship between the fighter and the trainer. And sometimes, like, it runs its course. Sometimes a promoter's relationship with a fighter just runs its course, or a manager's. Relationships run their course. And I think he's doing the right thing. He's being smart looking around for an American trainer or a new trainer. And look, I have respect for Eddie Reynoso. He's a good trainer. I have respect for, Ronnie Shields is a dear friend of mine for a long, long time. I personally think Ronnie Shields would be a terrific choice. Because, you know, AJ's got to change his orientation and his mindset for the next fight. He needs to show he's a dog. And he can be a dog, but he hasn't fought like it recently or in a while. Didn't fight like it in the rematch with Ruiz, even though he won. He fought cautiously. He's not going to beat Usyk fighting cautiously or boxing. He's going to beat Usyk by outsizing him, outstrengthening him, and being a dog. What other gyms did they say? Who else has he visited?
Oh, I'd have to have a look. There were 3 or 4, weren't there? Yeah, so Reynoso was one, Ronnie Shields recently, and who's the other one that they had a picture of him at?
Oh, Virgil Hunter.
Hunter, yeah.
I mean, they're all good. They're all good trainers. I mean, I'm partial to Ronnie only because I'm closest to him. But I don't think I think they're all like, look, obviously he's going to see some of the best guys in the States. And he's going to see, and honestly, also, it's also a matter of like who might be best for me or who might be best for some other fighter in terms of the trainer. It's how people gel also and mesh. Like, you know, what's his vibe with somebody? What did he think of the particular gym? How did he feel? Did he feel at home? Did he feel comfortable? How was he able to communicate when they sat down and talked? Right. But I think that it's showing me that he's serious about fighting Usyk differently. He needs to fight him differently. he can win. It's not out of the question. Even though Eddie gave an interview where it sort of seemed that he was suggesting that Usyk was almost a lock, but I don't even think Eddie believes that. I think Eddie just sort of misspoke. AJ needs to fight like a big guy, like a big strong motherfucker. He's got to fight like a fucking dog. Like he's got to show a little bit of street in him. He's got to show a little bit of fucking get down and dirty and out muscle the more technically skilled guy. Because here's the fucking reality. Every time they fight, Usyk is the more technically skilled guy, period. So he needs to negate that by accentuating his advantages. His advantages are size, strength, power, right? And he needs to be a dog in that fight. So I think looking for a new trainer, I get it. I don't think it's a down on McCracken. I don't think it's it's just time for a change, and he knows going into his next fight he has to change his whole approach.
And do you think?
By the way, if he's ever going to fight a Wilder or a Fury later, he absolutely needs to change his approach.
Do you think he's looking at the US because he wants to remove distractions, or do you think there's an element of being influenced by what Fury did in taking on Sugar Hill?
Both of the above. Both of the above.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because Fury was, still...
No, I think he also knows that. I think getting away from some distractions might be part of it, but I also think there's maybe it's just a time for a change of scenery for him a little bit. He's been in a comfort zone for a long time, right? His career's on the line right now. He's no longer thought of in the same light as a Fury. And actually, most boxing hardcore pundits I know, and I mean most, and even a lot of Brits who are very careful. You guys, I find about a lot of your press guys, by the way, that they say one thing in casual conversation and take a very different approach when they're using their craft. But most boxing pundits I've talked to think that if Wilder is still largely intact after that beating, then Wilder's a terrible match for this version that you've seen lately of AJ. So he has to change his approach to beat the top guys either. He's not going to beat Fury by fighting a more passive style and boxing him. Fury's a way better boxer and stronger and bigger. It's like he's got to make changes to reassert himself and win some of these fights and reassert his legacy. So I think he's being smart. I respect what AJ's doing right now.
Great stuff, Lou. It's always insightful. I hope the weather holds up for you over the coming week. And not much I can do about your baseball teams, unfortunately. But
it's supposed to be beautiful weather. It's a nice time of year here. Gonna try to get away, go to New England, see some leaves change colors. So whatever. Well, life's okay, man. Life's okay. And there is more to life than boxing alone. So.
I'm glad to hear it. All right. Well, you have a great week and we'll catch up soon.
Always a pleasure, Dan.
And you take care.